All right, let's talk about artificial intelligence. It can get super confusing, right? So today, we're going to ditch the jargon and explain it all using a language that pretty much everyone gets, soccer. Let's kick off this game day guide to AI.
So, let's just frame this whole thing with one simple question. What if an AI model was actually a professional soccer team? Seriously, how would it train? How would it play? How would it actually win a game? If you think about it that way, everything else just kind of clicks into place.
Here's our game plan for today. First up, we're going to get to know the league our AI team plays in. Then we'll crack open their training playbook to see how they get good. After that, we'll put the spotlight on the star playmaker, and finally, we'll see how the whole shebang comes together to make a winning system.
Okay, first half. Before we can even begin to talk about specific players or fancy tactics, we gotta understand the entire league. This is the big picture, you know? It shows how all these different AI ideas are related. So, at the very, very top, you've got machine learning, or ML. The easiest way to think about this is it's the entire sport of soccer itself. It's the biggest category there is, covering literally any way a team could possibly learn from watching old game footage, or, as we call it in the AI world, data. Now, within the sport of soccer, you have all kinds of different play styles, right? Well, that's what a neural network is. It's a specific style of play, where the players, our neurons, are set up in lines like defenders, midfielders, attackers, and they pass signals, the ball, between these different layers. And if we build on that, we get to deep learning. This isn't just a simple formation. This is an advanced, super powerful one. You don't just have a few lines of players. You have tons of them, all stacked together. And here's the crucial part. They're all trained together from end to end. So the whole team, from the very first touch to the final shot on goal, learns as one single unit. And that brings us to the cutting edge, Transformers. These things are the revolutionary new formation that's just dominating the game right now. They're a type of neural network, but they have a secret weapon, a special skill called attention. Just picture a world-class playmaker who, before they even think about making a pass, can instantly scan the entire field and see where every single person is. That's a transformer. So here it is, our AI league table, all laid out. Up at the top of the pyramid is machine learning. That's the whole sport. In the division below that, you have neural networks, a particular style of play. Then you've got deep learning, that complex, multi-layered formation. And right now, leading the league are the Transformers, the team with that game-changing playmaker. See how they all fit together in this hierarchy? Okay, halftime's over. We get the league structure. So now, for the second half, how does our AI team actually train? What does a practice session even look like? Let's open up the training playbook. Well, the whole training process is really just one simple loop, repeated over and over. First, you have the forward pass. The team tries to score. But of course, the shot misses. That miss, that's what we call the loss. That's the trigger for step 3, back propagation. This is basically the coach hitting the instant replay, going through the video frame by frame and giving feedback to every single player involved. And finally, gradient descent. Based on that review, the team makes tiny little adjustments to their strategy. Then they do it all over again, thousands, even millions of times, getting just a little bit better with every single try. Now, what's really interesting is that there are different coaching styles. On one hand, you've got supervised learning. This is your hands-on coach, the one who's constantly yelling from the sidelines, labeling every single move as a good pass or a bad run. But on the other hand, there's unsupervised learning. This coach is more chill. They just send the players out there and let them figure it out for themselves, letting them find their own natural patterns and shapes. And believe it or not, both styles are incredibly useful. All right, let's get into our third section and zoom right in on the star of the show, the player who's changing everything, the transformer. How does this playmaker actually do what it does on the field? So, we mentioned this special skill before, attention. It's really worth taking a second to appreciate this, because pretty much the entire power of these models, it all comes down to this one incredible ability. It's the reason they feel so smart. The absolute best way to think about it is head-up vision. It's the playmaker's ability to not just see the player right next to them, but to instantly see and understand the importance of every other player on the field. And not just where they are now, but where they were a few seconds ago. All of that in a split second to choose the perfect pass. And it's this attention skill that allows for real creativity. You see, generative models, which are almost always transformers, they aren't just analyzing the game. They are actually creating it. They generate totally new attacking plays, like the text that a chatbot writes or an AI-generated image, by stringing together one perfect pass after another. We're in the final minutes of the game now. And look, having a star player is fantastic, but one player alone doesn't win you a championship. You need a complete system built around them. So how do we get from just raw talent to a team that consistently wins trophies? So here's the key. You don't train your star player from scratch. Nobody has time for that. Instead, you do what the top clubs do. You sign a pre-trained superstar from a bigger league. In AI, we call these foundation models. They've already played thousands of games, seen millions of plays. They come to your team with a world of experience already built in. But even the best player in the world needs tactical support, and that's where something called RAG comes in. Think of Retrieval Augmented Generation as the team's massive digital scouting library. Before your playmaker even starts an attack, an analyst can instantly pull up the most relevant plays from your club's entire history and hand them over. This gives the AI concrete, factual info to use so it doesn't just, make stuff up.
And the RAG playbook is dead simple. Step 1, the coach, that's you, asks for something specific. Step 2, the analyst retrieves the most relevant files from that huge scouting library. And step 3, that info is handed to the playmaker, who augments their natural talent with this hard data to create a much smarter, much more accurate attack. And finally, you build out the rest of the system. Prompting? That's your pre-game talk on the whiteboard, setting the day's strategy. Fine-tuning is like running special drills just for your club's unique style. Quantization is like giving the team lighter jerseys to make them faster and more efficient. And guardrails? Well, those are the rules that stop your players from hallucinating, passing to players who aren't even there.
And that's the final whistle. So here's the big takeaway. You start with a pre-trained superstar, your foundation model. You guide them with a really clear pre-game talk, that's your prompt. You give them access to a massive tactical library, that's RAG. And when you put all of that together, that becomes your club's unique, reliable, winning system.
So now you have the playbook. You understand the league, the training, the star player, and the whole system. The only real question left is, now that your AI team is trained and ready to go, what game are you going to win? Thanks for tuning in.